Hi there, picking up where we left off. This is coming from the very last page of that notes file I've got posted on section 5.1 about exponential functions. In this instance, instead of having a formula just handed to us, we're going to have to assemble one ourselves. Well, I mean, we're going to use technology to do it, but you get the idea. So I've gone ahead, I've taken the liberty of opening up an Excel spreadsheet. You can do the same, where you have listed here the years that pop up in that example that occurs in our notes, as well as the income values. Remember, these are listed in billions of dollars. You may notice that these numbers don't quite match up. I have entered them accurately, but Excel defaulted to only so much space. So by double clicking on a boundary, I can actually get it to display everything exactly as I want them. You may be wondering why I've got this blank column in the middle with just the letter X sitting in the header. If you look, generally speaking, we don't just use raw calendar years when we're building these things that we refer to as exponential models for our data sets. So in this instance, we want X to be the number of years since 1960. So the year 1960 is 0 years from 1960. So we put that in. On down the line, 1970 is 10 years later. Hopefully you get the idea here. 48, and then we've got 58 sitting there at the end. Great. So now we've got our data where we want them. The first thing we're going to do in this instance is generate a scatter plot. So it may have been a while since you've had to do this. So just as a reminder, I'm going to highlight my data cells, come up here to the top, hit insert, and I want a scatter plot. So this time around, I actually don't want any sort of connecting curve. I'm going to fill that in myself. So note, I'm going to pick this guy. So we've got him right here. Move him over in this direction. And hopefully you notice it does seem to match that kind of exponential growth looking thing that we saw in our previous examples. Now, Excel can generate an exponential modeling equation for us based on this. So what I'm going to do is right click on one of these data points. Doesn't matter which one. It'll work out the same way no matter what. So down here in this menu that appears, we want to pick this guy that says add trend line. So click that. Boom, over here at the edge of my display window, we've got different models we can set up. It defaults to doing things linear. We don't want that one. We want exponential. So, it's adjusted the graph, and we've got kind of one of those exponential modeling curves sitting right there. Before I bail out of this menu, I do want to point out, you are going to want to come down here to the bottom of this menu. So underneath all the different types, we want to display the equation for the model on our chart, because we're generally going to end up wanting it for something. So click that guy, and you'll notice now I've got the formula right there. You may, maybe be a little easier to read on your own display if you're following along, but yeah, that gives you the idea. So there we go. Trend line gone. Let me click on that. I think we might be able to make it a little bit bigger. That's not wanting to let me blow it up. Oh well. I was hoping we could make it bigger, but oh well. So that's an exponential, trend line model from inside Excel. And looking at some of the questions here, we've got our formula. You could write down the equation. Alternatively, it asks if we're overestimating or underestimating in the year 2018. So 2018 corresponded to 58. That was our final data point right here. So you see that guy. He's underneath the graph, so that means our model is actually an overestimate, as opposed to if we come back here to 40, where you see the dot is above the curve for our modeling formula. That in the instance means the model is an underestimate for what we're doing. So that's Excel. That's going to be pretty useful because it turns out for your third project in the course, you're going to need to use exactly these features for a particular data set. The other thing I wanted to take a look at was how you might try doing one of these things inside a graphing calculator if you got that handy. So it's a little more technical here than it is inside Excel. And it's going to give us a slightly different format to our answers, but I do still want to take a look at it. So what we're going to need to do first is load these data sets. So I'm going to go into the Stat menu, so this button right here, and I actually want to pick that very first option. I'm going to edit data. So you'll see L1, L2, L3. So I'm going to enter my X values into that first guy. So you see the 10, 20, 30, 40, 48, 58. Excellent. Okay. So if you need to and you make a mistake, you can hit delete, and it'll go away. So for instance, for some reason, if I didn't want 58, I hit the delete, as you say, hit the delete key, it goes bye-bye. So put it back in there though, because I actually want it. All right. So then in L2, I'm going to enter those corresponding income values. So I have the 411.5, 838.8, 2307.9, 4878.6, 8429.7, 12100.7. Note that the calculator has the same problem Excel started out with. We just don't have the ability to fix it by double clicking on something. But if you move back over, using the arrow keys, you can see the 12100.7 is still there. It's just not displaying it for us. Lastly, that is not what I want. 19129.6 goes in there. Again, it gets rounded, but that's fine. So I've got the data loaded up in there. Excellent. So now to get that actual exponential model, I'm going to go back into the stat menu. So hit the stat key again, and I'm going to come over to the top guy here labeled calc. And I've got to scroll through this list a bit because the thing we're actually after is a ways down. We actually want entry number 0. The exponential regression is what that REG stands for. Don't worry, that's not going to show up on the test. So I hit exponential regression. You'll see the calculations from video 1 still hovering around there, so that's great. Now, if you're actually wanting to store the equation that comes up somewhere, like if you're wanting to generate a graph, say, which we do in this instance, so what I'm going to need to do to get that stored somewhere is I'm going to come here and hit this variables key. I'm going to go into the menu that says yvars, y variables, hit enter on function, and I can stash it in the y1 variable. If you don't do this, it just kind of displays it. You'll see what that looks like as I hit enter here. So it gives us the exponential equation. It's not quite in that same base E format that we saw previously. You'll note this time around it looks like A times B to the X, and it gives you the values of A and B right there. If you don't want to mess around with storing it, you don't necessarily have to, but this will save us a little bit of trouble momentarily, because what I'm going to do is hop into my Y editor, and huzzah, look at that. So the model equation has already been stored away for us, so we don't have to worry about entering it ourselves, which is handy. I also want to go ahead and show you how to generate the stat plot, so it actually plots the data points like we saw in our Excel example. So if I do second and then come up here and hit this, it'll actually go into a stat plot screen. So we've got plot 1 there. I'm going to hit enter on that guy. I want to turn it on. You shouldn't need to change anything else in here, so you'll notice the X list and Y list point to those L1 and L2 columns that we saw when we were editing stuff. You shouldn't really need to change those. If you want to change the mark, I actually like the square that it defaults to over the other options. Just that way it pops out a bit better if you've got the model equation on the graph. So we've got those guys right there. Excellent. Our graph is ready to go. Before I do that, I do want to show you what the graph window I've got set up looks like. So X is running from 0 to 65, kind of like what we saw in Excel earlier. Y-min, I've got set as 0. Exponential functions can't be negative, so that makes sense. The Y-max, I've got set pretty big, 30,000. You'll see why I'm doing that, and you may already be able to look ahead a bit, and you'll be able to track down why you might want to do that. So I didn't adjust the Y scale. That's why the vertical axis is so thick. But you can see from here, we've got the same kind of behavior going on. Basically, it's just a matter of why the scale is how the range of the pictures is showing up here is accounting for the difference. But we got the same idea. This still looks like an overestimate of what's happening in 2018, but an underestimate if we come back to any of those guys right there. So that part taken care of. The last thing we ask you in this particular notes file is at what point the model predicts we're going to have income reaching $30 trillion. So remember, that's what these values are representing. total personal income in the US in a particular year calendar-wise. So to take care of that, that's why I set that scale up as 30,000, because a trillion is 1,000 billions, and these income numbers are in terms of billions to begin with. So what I'm going to do to track that down is come down here into my y-editor, and I'm going to put in 30,000 as another graph, the same kind of stuff we did with linear programming type things in chapter 4. So then I go back in, draw my graph, and you notice that horizontal line slashes across the top, and we've got ourselves a point of intersection right there. So as we've seen previously, we want to track that down. We can go into the calc menu, so the second function, this trace key. I pick number 5, intersect. I've only got the 2 curves saved, so I can just kind of spam the enter key from here. I'm on the exponential equation. I'm on the horizontal line. They only cross once, so I get my guess. It may think a bit. There we go. So we've got an x value of about 60.9. Now, needless to say, that's not really a meaningful calendar year. Remember, X is a number of years after 1960, so we need to add 1960 to this, and if you work out the arithmetic, you should get somewhere in the neighborhood of the year 2021, we expect to hit that $30 trillion worth of total personal income here in the United States. So that's what I've got for you as far as exponential functions are concerned. So we'll take a look in the next section at a slight rearrangement of this exponential format. So stay tuned for that. I feel this weird compulsion to ask you at this point to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. You don't really have to do it. I'm just letting you know that I'm compelled to do so.